Alright, welcome back everybody. I had an issue with the recording, so I actually had to do that last cutscene in the last video over again. And I figured I'd just go ahead and cut the video in there and then pick up right here, so we're back. Thank you for putting forth Kazal's name. Those whose lives he enriched will take comfort in seeing his legacy honored. You'll forgive me for not speaking sooner, but I bear a message from Archon Istola. She asks that you meet her at the High Crucible at your earliest convenience. Understood, thank you. Istola must have finished her study of the Void Gate. Shall we hear what she has to say then? I will go with you. Thought the satrap would be too busy setting up the foundation. My clerks have been the well-oiled cogs of the administration since before Alwan assumed the office. They understand what needs to be done. I'm curious to learn what conclusions your Archon has reached concerning the gate's unique construction. As you wish, allow me to lead the way, Your Excellency. Alright, let's go ahead and figure out more about the Void Gate. Okay, no, this is not the way I want to be going. If I could find one of the Ethernet things around, I could probably make this a lot simpler on myself. In fact, I think that's one right up there. Alright, let me see. Okay, it's up that way. So I guess we just go to the Aetheryte Plaza then.
Right, here we all are.
You discovered something new?
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the Void Gate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening. For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vritra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics. From what we understand, travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them. Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the first. You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world. The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, The laws of nature hold no sway. Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first. The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many Voidsent found in the Source? Who guides them here, and how?
An excellent question. Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power. To call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact. Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner. Instead, 'tis far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain exarch dragged us to the first. And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Voidsent's physical form is left behind in the 13th. Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the Source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the Source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the Source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
No. The danger is too great.
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
Were you not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
I assure you I was most attentive. And I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th, and humbled the Cloud of Darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved.
So much for taking it easy.
Since when were you one for the quiet life? Once again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands. That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, there is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Satrap's personal authority.
As I've said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single Voidsent will be allowed to threaten Radzat-Han, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan?
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daimir was overseeing the project.
Daimir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a Voidsent which had slipped through the fissure. After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made Voidsent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
A man-made Voidsent?
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daimir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with...
Graha's favorite place to sneak around.
Indeed. Numenon's restricted stacks may very well hold a copy. In which case, I say we head directly to Charlene.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves. I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Kalzal Foundation.
Let us be on our way as well.
They are resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
Seems like he's having a bit of a heart-to-heart with himself there. Alright, we have to head to Charlian. If we were to enter Numeron's restricted archives with a minimum of fuss, then we must secure the permission of the forum. First, however, we should need to enlist the incorporation of a member to broach the matter on our behalf. Who do you think might be inclined to assist us? No one springs to mind? What of Scarlac Montachan? He did come to Gorhall's defense during the inquiry, after all. Tis settled. We'll head to Fumilion and see if he's willing to help us once more. Been a while since we've had somebody just hanging around. I forgot it could snow here. Okay, I don't think we're going in here. Let me see if there's any ether rides around. Pretty sure there's one over there. The Studium, okay. I think if somebody's following us, we're supposed to, like, head there on foot, though, so I guess we'll do that. The snow's gone. Only stuck around for a little bit. Okay, now we're heading up this way. Okay, this looks like a crossover. You honestly would think they just give us unrestricted access after everything we went through with the last expansion. Like, honestly. I apprenticed to Master Matoya at the age of 7 and labored under her tutelage for a full decade. Never had the chance to attend the studium. Near the Thancred, as I recall. Soon after Master Louisoix took him off in the streets, he was put in the care of another Archon. His was a rigorous and practical education in the arts of espionage and survival. Sometimes wonder what my life would have been like if I'd pursued studies here instead. Tea at the last stand after a day of lectures. Well, that does sound lovely. Afternoons with friends spent sipping tea and debating theories. Still wouldn't give up my time with Master Matoya for the world. The dank cave I studied in was about as far from the bright, airy halls of Academia as one could get, but it was a wondrous magical childhood nonetheless. Is it this way? Oh yeah, we can get down that way, it looks like, from here. Visitors, and quite esteemed ones at that. What may I do for you? Pray forgive the intrusion, Scarlac, but we were hoping you might help us secure permission to enter Numeron's restricted archives. Oh, no further forays into the stacks this time, eh? I applaud this newfound sense of propriety, yet in all this wide world of comparative similarity, what compels you to deserve a fault of forbidden wisdom? Fascinating. I had no idea such a technique existed. I would have been as surprised if you had. If my assumption is correct, the research left behind by House Demir has laid dormant in Charlane's archives for many centuries. And if you unearth this research, what then? Surely you don't intend to cross over into the void. That is, in fact, precisely what we intend. To what end, pray tell? Develop a method of traversing the rift, for one. That I might keep my word to a distant friend. Sentiment aside, I have journeyed to the end of existence. I have heard, felt, and thought endlessly about the truth of our world and echo of its future. And yet I want to understand everything, to unravel it all down to its very last secret. What scholarly worthy of the name wouldn't force open a void hitherto if a grand revelation was the promised reward? Marvelous. And a dose of proposal worthy of Master Matoy yourself. And after hearing the whys and the what-fors, I, for one, do not believe you wouldn't use the knowledge for ill. I see no reason not to present your request for the form's consideration. Although your petition will be better received if you also have the support of another well-placed acquaintance. Why, Master Fortenu, of course. He can hardly ignore an earnest request from his dear Choden's most treasured comrades. I was hesitant to approach him directly, but there's no denying that having Master Fortenu on our side would tip the balance in our favor. Very well, we'll pay a visit to the Labanor estate and plead our case. One last thing before you go. I would consider it a personal favor if you might share with me the discoveries that you make in the void. My appetite for knowledge is every bit as insatiable as yours, I'd wager, so if you could see your way of indulging an old man's curiosity. Of course, Scarlac. We'll be sure to pass on any revelations. It's been a while since we've been over to the Labanor estate, so... Okay, let's go ahead and try and teleport, I guess. Okay, she does follow us. Okay, that's good to know. Mistress Nar, Mistress Ustola, how may I be of service? We've come to speak of Master Fortenu. Is he home by chance? Yes, the master is in residence. I shall inform him that he has guests. I wonder how he's going to take our request. Well, Immediance would invite you inside for tea, but I presume this is not a social visit. You have some matter of import to discuss. Then pray proceed. You have my full attention. Well, I suppose I should praise you for following the proper protocols this time around. Scarlac Montachune expressed much the same sentiment. I assure you, we're not attempting to circumvent the form's authority again, unless it is absolutely necessary, of course. Of course. You do understand that restrictive archives are restricted for good reason, yes? If no pressing need exists, then why risk the consequences of employing this forbidden knowledge? For a brother who misses his sister, she was his guardian and his friend, a selfless hero who crossed the rift between worlds to save her homeland from horror and suffering. But the brother who has given up on his thoughts of reunion, he spends his efforts elsewhere, watching over a people yet healing from the flames of the final days, loyal to his duty while betraying the longing in his heart. 'Tis no vital mission, perhaps, reuniting these siblings, but feels a worthy cause to pursue all the same. As one who feared losing his own loved ones and spent years in research to prevent it, surely you appreciate how painful such a separation must be. Reflections are still very much a mystery to us. Offering to share your experiences in the First should constitute a fair exchange for our cooperation. Do not separate just yet. The Forum must still be convinced. I will add your request to the list of today's deliberations and deliver the decision to you at the Baladon Annex. Alright, let's head on over there then. So what did the Forum decide? To put it bluntly, Master Bertoya has burned some bridges here in Charlian, and salted the earth for good measure, when it became clear that a student was the petition in question, while no fewer members voiced their discontent. Then the Chamber was reminded, in no uncertain terms, I might add, of the incredible debt we owe to you and your companions. That served to silence the grumbles and stiffen a few spines, and it was agreed that allowing you to entry into the archives is the least we can do in return. That's wonderful news. Thank you both for speaking on our behalf. Yes, well, as I'm sure you're aware, this permission was not extended lightly. Forbidden knowledge is to be treated with the utmost caution, and there will be repercussions if it is not. I wish you well in your endeavor, and bid you good day. Ever the same, that one. Uncompromising, aye, but that very stoicism is exactly what Charlian needed to guide it through not one but two Exodiuses. Alright. We got the permission we needed, at least. That went rather well, I think. As a child, I dreamed up any number of schemes to forget my hands on those forbidden tomes, and now I can simply walk in through the door. Our focus will be finding House Demir's research notes, of course, but the thought of so much knowledge at my disposal has me feeling a little giddy. You'll be heading directly to the archives from here, I presume. You presume correctly. Then you'll want to speak with the index page when you arrive. It's been instructed to grant you access to the restricted section. Excellent. Once again, we thank you for all your help. It was my pleasure, believe me. May you find the knowledge you seek. Shall we? Alright. Where are we heading exactly? Okay, we're heading over this way. So we guess we can head back to the studio. Oh, there's a Lopper here. I guess my pudding wasn't needed to stop the funnel days after all, but I persevere. Once people taste it, they'll be even happier when they were before the apocalypse started, I just know it. Good for you, man. Good for you. To think the instructions I laughingly imagined may actually exist but qualms away from where you found me napping. If I had known Alzadal III's exploits sooner, I could well have saved myself days of research. Even a children's book might have pointed me in the right direction. To achieve the impossible, one must needs be flexible of mind and look beyond conventional wisdom. Lesson I'd already learned, but clearly not taken to heart. Archon Ystella and guests identified. Do you wish to proceed into the restrictive archives? Yes, let's go ahead and do that.
If House Damia's notes are to be found anywhere, it will be here. Let us begin.
Oh, they're actually gonna let us look around, huh? Let's take a look. Today, in a world not my own, I met the most beautiful void-born creature. She was so unlike her ravenous brethren. Eyes blazing not with hunger, but troubling, like a candle's flame, threatening to flicker out at any moment. I wonder if she is even the proper word. Such distinctions seem inconsequential, insignificant even. All that matters is love I feel for this exquisite, transcendent being. That's not what we're seeking. Certainly sound interesting, though. In the year 1564 of the 6th Astral Era, the Amajal summoned Ifrit, their patron god. Accounts describe the being as a gigantic lizard-like being of a potent command of fire aspect magics. If we just consider that primal summoning is an act fueled by faith and prayer, it is unsurprising, if not expected, that the resulting deiform entity should manifest the appearance and powers of which it is tribute by its worshippers. What then might emerge from either should one who believes in an almighty omniscience attempt the same ritual? Would the scholar himself grace us with his presence, some other embodiment of divine sagacy? Could this man-made god surely be all-knowing, and if it were, whence would such knowledge arise? I myself have many questions concerning the nature of the ancient world. With no spell to transport me back to the days of old, could I instead summon a being possessed of an encyclopedic wisdom of every age? Yet with no means to verify its pronouncements, how could one be certain that were true? It's not what we're seeking, but still interesting bets. Is it going to be this one, maybe? It's the only other one I see so far, so... The following pages detail an advanced method for manipulating rift-spanning apertures devised by Nodasta, the 9th Patriarch of House Demir. We present these research notes to the faculty of Charlian Studium as both a token of our friendship and expression of our boundless admiration. You appear to have located the forbidden volume you seek. You still will need to make the final confirmation. I don't know where I said conversation for whatever reason. I'm getting tired, I guess. I have something you'd like to show me, do you? My apologies, I flipped open by a single book and was completely absorbed by the contents. Here you go. Well done, Narin. I think you may have found our prize.
Yes, the ether signature is unmistakable. I've felt the traces of House Damia's resonance many times at the Great Work. Time to see what all the fuss was about. Among the ranks of the Voidsent, there exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard. From its distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures. A talent which sorely tested the Radiant Host in its battles against these abominations. Surmising that the entity itself was acting as a void gate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure. Our findings revealed that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate. Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism. We proceeded to embed said prism into an arcane simulacrum, thus completing what we have dubbed our artificial atoms. How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon void scent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea. Surely you've at least heard the tales. And still, House Daemir went and built a mock Atomos of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive. It was no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves? Ah, but that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
Alrighty. As much as I would love to start crafting the Atomos, I'm afraid this is far outside my field of expertise. Fortunately, we know a Hanish alchemist who would be delighted to involve herself in our House Daemir project. Our business here is concluded for the moment. Please pass on regards to the forum. Your message will be conveyed. Should you wish to indulge in more forbidden literature, I'll be here. Patron mode disabled. Security mode engaged. If anyone can help us, Nidhana can. I say we return to Thavnir and look for her at the Great Work. Exactly that. I don't think I have a direct spot to, Oh, actually, yeah, I do. Okay. This area was nice, now that I remember it. You still tells me you're pursuing a most fascinating study, and that you want me to be part of it. I have no doubt you'll be interested. This research log should speak for itself. Will it now? By the sisters, this is the mark of House Daemir. I never knew such a work existed. Few should have sequestered in Numenion's restricted archives, after all. It was, but that means every word within is forbidden knowledge. A forbidden tome filled with forbidden research, and you put it right into my unsuspecting hand. I can hardly wait to read it. To think the Daemir were developing such marvelous techniques so long ago. How many innovations have been lost over the centuries, I wonder? Now that you've glanced over the notes, what say you helping us build a new mock Atomos? I say yes, 1,000 times yes. Work on a Demir project that has even the rebuttable scholars of Charlian trembling in their sandals. No alchemist of the great work could resist. You are a woman after my own heart. Oh, I suppose I should ask, what do you mean to do with this big-mouthed Cirlicrum once you've built it? So there's a secret void gate, and it's sealed in the ruins of the bottom of the Valti. Today is a day of revelations indeed. If the purpose of our man-made Atomos is to expand this hidden portal, then I will need to see it for myself, I think. Manipulating rift-spanning apertures is not the sort of thing you want to attempt without first taking into account every single factor. Then by all means, accompany us to the vault. I plan to lead us back there shortly, once we've finished gathering the components I require. Charlian's markets provide the raw aquamarine and pure water crystals, but I might need help retaining a small quantity of astrally refused water. For such a liquid, you'll need to go no further than Font of Maya. The execs of old once favored the place for their meditations, and the water which pools there now is known to enliven the flow of ether. That sounds perfect. If you would be so kind as to fill a flask at the pool, I'll petition Vitro to join us. The idea I have in mind won't amount to much without his authority to command the Void Gate. Shall we be about it then? We'll be back here anon. Alrighty then. So I kind of assume 6.1 is going to stop once we get like all the stuff together to expand the Void Gate, I imagine. Okay, I'm already there. I was about to say, I hope this is not like on the other side of the entire map. Go ahead and take this water, why not? Alrighty, and then we just head back, I guess. Do you have that flask for me? Yes, this should suffice. Thank you, Naran. I don't know what I want here, actually. Spell speed, maybe? I don't know. Look who I came across. Estidian seems in need of diversion, and we, in turn, may need of his lance. Right then, now that our little party's assembled, let us make our way to the ruins. But we have need of Metzia's boat again. Not this time. Once you still inform me of our destination, I arrange for a vessel to be made ready at Akiali. Your Excellency is ever the gracious host, shall we? Now we just head off that way. And since there's no direct spot there, we'll just go ahead and fly over there. This is pretty much the direct reason why I always like get the flyings unlocked as I'm doing the expansions, because you have to fly, you have to go everywhere so often in the patches storyline that it's really worth just getting the flying out of the way first. Go ahead and take the ship then. Our thanks, we'll set sail at once. Oh, this is so exciting. Azudal's legacy, to see the truth of a legend with my own eyes. All aboard for the treasure vault.
The ruins alone were impressive enough, but I never dreamed such a treasure lay hidden in the depths of the bounty. It may have been helpful to know this device existed, Your Excellency.
My apologies. The gate was a secret I shared with none but my closest advisors. I feared for what might happen should those with ill intentions learn of its existence.
What is it you're doing now?
There's something I wish to verify. The NOAA reports claim that a short stint into the void carries little risk of etheric imbalance. Should one suffer an injury, however, or if one's expedition drags on longer than intended, that risk becomes significantly greater. Graha theorized that a warding scale would confer protection from the void's corrupting influence. But I would prefer to test that hypothesis before we set foot in the 13th ourselves.
So, this is an experiment of sorts.
Yes, an experiment. Tell me, how would you go about testing the efficacy of the warding scale?
Say nothing. Look meaningfully at Instanian. Yes, let's go ahead and do that.
What? Why are you looking at me like that? Surely you'd not expect me to wriggle through that tiny portal.
We needn't attempt anything so drastic. A small familiar should serve well enough. Now, a lowly imp can navigate a fissure, no matter how narrow. Which means an arcane entity of similar stature should be able to manage the same. I hadn't wanted it to come to this, but no other familiars will do, I'm afraid.
I mislike the sound of that. What manner of fiend does she mean to summon?
From ocean rise and cloudbank form, from mountain spring and rainfall storm, from river flow and life be born. Water, froth and fire!
Ready your arms. I fear she's been possessed.
Oh, come now. That was adorable.
Though not my first choice. These familiars I conceived of as a child have the best chance of fitting through the gate. I only wish my younger self had considered a more dignified ending to the creation ritual. In any case, these two should serve as well. This one will bear a warding scale. And And when they return from the 13th, we can observe how the talisman, or absence thereof, has affected the progress of the Void's corruption. If I could impose upon you to open the gate. Your Excellency?
Ah, yes, of course.
We should also be wary of void scent slipping through while we conduct our experiment. Estinian, you are to keep Nadana safe from harm.
As you say.
You had best be on your guard as well.
Froth and foam.
Oh, are you volunteering to join the Nixies? I could shrink you down, you know. Let us begin, shall we? Nixies, into the void.
Wonder what they'll find. Or are we actually getting, like, the control of them, I wonder? Huh. Okay. I don't think much could really slip through that little hole like they were saying. Unless it's just so they expand on its own or something.
I think we've waited long enough. Nixies, return to my side. Thank you, little one. You did well.
Oh, the poor thing. Its essence has been irrevocably warped.
We're out of time! I must reseal the Void Gate.
They're coming through!
I bar this door unto the Void!
Well, that was a sharp lesson in the dangers of void gates.
And what of our experiment? I'd say the results speak for themselves.
The unprotected Nixie has suffered extensive etheric corruption. As Nidana observed, it's well on its way to becoming a void scent. The one merged with the talisman, however, appears unaffected. I sense no changes to its equilibrium. Rest now, little ones.
Graha's theory was correct then.
So it would seem. But while our second familiar was untouched by void energies, the talisman itself shows signs of degradation. It was, of course, originally designed to shield the soul from primal tempering. It stands to reason that etheric corruption of a different sort would affect it differently. We may need to modify the warding scale's design to account for the 13th's uniquely unstable ether.
You've said much of the Void's instability, but my imagination fails me. What manner of place is this broken world?
Ah, my apologies. I forget that not all of us spend our days sequestered in dusty archives. The 13th is a reflection of the source that was drowned in a flood of darkness. In Emmett Selk's own words, this tragedy was a result of the Ascians' attempts to force a rejoining. They erred in their haste, and made of that world a useless void. You remember Una Kalhai, the unusual child we met during our troubles with the Warring Triad. He explained the fate of the 13th thus. The champions of that ill-fated world used the stone known as Auracite to contain the power of primals. But those self-same heroes were gradually corrupted by the Auracite's bleeding energies, transforming into fiends with an endless hunger for ether. By the time anyone thought to oppose them, Light's strength had grown too feeble, and the balance of the 13th tipped into eternal darkness. And what of your own experience? Will you tell us of what you observed during Noah's expedition? I can picture it now. The sunless, Stygian expanse, infested with legions of ether-starved monstrosities. A void in every sense of the word.
What you have described in such lurid detail is exactly why I hesitate to encourage you.
Worry not, great Vritra. Our journey into the 13th is but the first leg of a longer voyage. A voyage that shall lead us to other reflections, to new mysteries and discoveries. And I mean to be there every step of the way. But first, I must focus on refining the warding talisman.
Then I can begin work on constructing an artificial Atomos. Or I could if I had the relevant manuals to hand. Might I be so bold as to request access to the Satrap's family archives? Your Excellency?
Oh, yes. That can be arranged. I will speak to my officials upon our return.
We will see you back in the city then.
Alrighty. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end things off here tonight, and then I'll pick up next time as we continue along this. This has actually been a little bit longer of a storyline than I thought it would be for one patch bit, so... In any case, I will see you guys next time, so see you then.